Hey, so if you're struggling to drop the stubborn body fat, then maybe the problem is not in your program or your plan. Maybe the problem comes down to your lifestyle. So my name is Josh here from Physique Essentials, and I have an idea to run past you. If you have been on this path or are on this path right now and you are struggling to make some long-term meaningful progress, and maybe this will hit home. So we've all heard the saying that we are a product of our environment. So think about it like this. Every time that you jump on a challenge, you do a detox, you start a new program, things go really well at the start, you drop a few kilos, you start to feel better, start to look better. But in the end, the results are unsustainable. For one reason, it leads to another. The weight that you lose, it comes back plus more, and you find yourself continually on this perpetual cycle, one step forward, one step back, desperately trying to figure out what's up. Now, the reason why I say I don't think it's the programs or the detoxes or plans or anything that you're following is because all those things are aligned to treat the symptom that you present. So the symptom being you've got excess weight that you want to lose. But what if that symptom itself wasn't the problem? What if you carrying the weight? So let's just say you've got 10 kilos to lose. So that 10 kilos is not the problem. The real underlying issue is why you have that weight there in the first place, which is governed by your lifestyle, the choices, the decisions, the routines, the habits that we've got. So it's that keeps you in this element of perpetual stuckness. So with that in mind, what I want to do is want to share with you a quick 5-step framework that I believe will help you break through this. It's helped countless clients of mine break through it, and it's quite powerful stuff. So number one, before you engage on any challenge or whatever, you need to make the decision, and you need to make the right decision. And what I mean by the right decision, it's not just about, look, I'm going to do another challenge, I'm going to commit to training for 12 weeks or whatever it is. The real decision comes down to you essentially drawing the line in the sand. I'm enough of this. I've had enough of this. Sorry, I'm sick of this, and I need to create some real lasting results. I want to turn and change my physique and my health from being a liability to my greatest asset. So essentially what you're committing to and making the decision for is not just about signing up to a program per se or sticking to training for a few weeks. It's about being the best that you can be for the end of time, you know what I mean? For as long as it takes, because this is going to be or become your new normal. The next part of that comes down to getting real and discovering what the real underlying issues are, what the real problems are. As I said, look, if you've got 10 kilos to lose, that weight is not the problem. Okay, we have to look past that. What we need to identify is the reasons why that weight is there in the first place. And every time that you do lose some weight and you are successful, why is it that you cannot keep that momentum going? Why is it that our weight always comes back plus more? And it's super important to find the real underlying problems, because then once you do, you'll know exactly what to go all in on and to focus on to fix. That's where your planning comes into it. Now, at the end of the day, we only got two real things that we can control on a day-to-day basis that are going to help us create the outcomes that we want: how we eat and how we move. Now, we want to make sure that we're eating in a way that is governed to the choices that we want, the goals we want, and so forth. I'm not saying that you need to eat chicken and broccoli every day for the rest of your life to get the results that you want. I could not think of anything worse. Rather, having a good understanding and comprehension of nutrition, being in confident control of your choices, so you don't feel like you're going about and living a life of restriction and things like that. Also, too, when it comes to your training, very specific, making sure that your training is aligned to the goals, what it is that you want, your preferences, where you're training, and so forth. And then having strong elements of accountability so you can track and measure your progress. So essentially like work, ticking off the KPIs, making sure that you're on track. Essentially what this means is dialing in a plan that suits your goals, aligns with your preferences, and helps you create the long-term sustainable lifestyle that you want. Now, leading in the lifestyle, it's important that we look at step number 4, which is time. Okay, you've got to give yourself the time. In other words, this is another word for priority. Too many guys I speak with, look, super busy. We've got 1,000,001 things going on. We've got work commitments, social, family, and all that sort of stuff. And if something has to break within the day, if you have run out of time and something needs to, be kicked into touch, I don't know what it is, but we always tend to forget ourselves, I should say, and we skip the training session. What we need to do is making sure that we are prioritizing ourselves, number one. This doesn't mean it's all about you 24/7. It just means that, you know what, these couple of times a week are important to me. I need to make sure that I still get it done. I need to make myself a priority and essentially elevate myself up my own hierarchy. Because this is the powerful thing. If you are better, like let's just say the standards that you're operating on right now, If you improve that standard, not only are you now going to look, feel, and perform better by default, you personally, but it's also going to affect every other aspect of your life. You're going to contribute, you're going to perform better at work, at home, socially. Everything is going to benefit on a compounding basis. So give yourself the priority. And number 5 is consistency. You know what I mean? Like, why would you embark on something for, do a 6-week summer shred or whatever it is, a 12-week program, only to be willing to kick that in the touch, thinking in terms of, I'm just going to get back into shape and then I'll forget all those new habits that I'm building and then I'll just go back to my old lifestyle. Hence, as I said, lifestyle, this is essentially what keeps you stuck. So unless you are prepared to do something for the long term, don't do it at all. Now, it's important when I say that it's not about committing to a specific program modality long term. So i.e. going, I've got to train 3 days a week, or I've got to do this, or I can only eat these certain foods or whatever. It's not about that. What it is that consistency is you bridging back to step number 1. I am consistently going to be continuing to make the decision, where I'm going to be focusing on the goals that I want, as I said, drawing the line in the sand and just being the best that I can possibly be. So as I said, 5 steps to help you to be able to create a new, productive, and effective lifestyle. So if any of this has resonated, awesome. If you want to know more, continue to scroll down. I've got some more stuff on the page below. And if you would like my help in any way, I want to discuss that, we can do that too. So again, my name is Josh, Physique Essentials. Thank you so much for checking this out. Hope it's helped. Talk to you soon.